Hi Colin, this is Srijoni from Digital Mafia Talkies. Hope you're doing
Hi, how are
well.
you?
I'm doing well. So, congratulations on the upcoming release of Jester 2. So,
Thank
tell me
you.
how the journey has been from directing a short film to now the release of Jester 2 in theaters. So, yeah.
Yeah, long. It's been a long, difficult journey, and because it was so unexpected. Like the opportunity came out of nowhere to make the first Jester feature. It was not something that, in hindsight, we should have been doing, but we didn't, which was thinking and writing and practicing telling long form narratives like a feature film. We'd only had and ever thought we were going to have the experience of making short films, worrying about something that is only 10 minutes in length as opposed to 90 minutes. So suddenly, when somebody's like, yeah, you can finally make that Jester film you've been always wanting to make, it's like, oh, yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. So, the learning curve was very, very steep for that first one, especially. And, and then also the learning curve of making movies at such a low budget level because the operations are going to be different
Mhm.
than anything you've learned in film school or otherwise about what making movies, quote unquote, is like. It's all different. The experience is going to be different at whatever level you're at. So it's been a lot to learn, and now we're here, and I don't know how we got here. It's all been such a blur.
And it's great. I mean, if your film is releasing in theaters, it must be surreal.
Yeah.
So, So, what are the additions that you've made, in Gesture 2? So, compared to the first one, anything in specific that you want to add, you want the audience to know?
A lot more Jester. Um, two times as much Jester, actually. That's why it's called Jester 2. I worked that out mathematically. No, that's a joke. But yeah, we actually wanted to make the see if we could make the Jester the protagonist in this film, as opposed to guy who stands across the street or guy who steps out of the shadows, which he does both of those things in this movie, but he also does a lot more things as well. Um, we just were like, well, can't the protagonist and the antagonist be the same person? Um, so we went into this with that mindset, and we came out of it with two protagonists, the Jester being one of them, and Max being the other protagonist. Turns out you can't. It's pretty difficult to have a protagonist character who is entirely silent, and then also have to
Yeah.
expand on the lore and all these things with no one talking to him. So we needed somebody there with the Jester.
Yeah, I mean, Max is a great addition to the Jester world. So, Jester is such a peculiar character. I really wanted to know how you came up with this character and what was your thought when you were writing the character.
Peculiar is a good word. Peculiar. There was somebody earlier who described him as lovable, but I think peculiar is a
Ah,
better
yeah,
a better
more
term.
peculiar.
um, it was I wish I could say, oh yeah, I just sat up in a cold sweat in the middle of the night one night and was like, I got it. But I that's not at all how it happened. It was just a response to the previous horror short films that we had made at that time. So we had done two horror short films prior. The first one was the first horror thing we'd ever done, and the second one was the most ambitious thing we had done at that time, and they were called Creep and On My Way.
Mhm.
But they both shared very similar antagonists because that's what we could do at the time, and our focus wasn't really on the antagonists in those. It was just, can we even make a competent horror thing? And then On My Way, it was, can we make an entire short film feel like it takes place in one long shot, and then adding the complication of having that shot mounted to the side of a car. So it was just there were a lot of things. And it's like, yeah, and then there's maniacs running around. I don't know. So this one was like, well, what if we didn't do a maniac running around again? What if we did something that was the opposite? What if we did a guy who's still in a mask because there's only so many of us making these short films. We didn't want to see the same faces popping up over and over again, so we always put our antagonists in masks for that reason. But um, this guy's, what if he projected intelligence and he was cool and calm and collected and just had style, seemed to love what he did. And so yeah, it wasn't born out of like a singular genius inspiration. It was born out of just trying to respond in opposition to the things that we had only done prior to that.
I think limitations also played a part. I mean, you were saying that you could not show the face of the antagonist because you're repeating.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very interesting. So I was reading about your films, and I learned that Michael Sheffield, you have been working with him in quite a number of your films. So how did this collaboration pan out? And he is the Jester, so how did that work?
Well, the like I said, we had, I think it was five of us. I think we always had around five of us. A few of the members would swap out here and there depending on their availability or interest, but there was always just such a small number of us that if you weren't doing something in front of the camera, you were behind the camera holding something. So Mike was often in front of the camera because we needed a tall guy. So it was like, oh, well, we gotta get the tall guy and put him in a suit and a mask.
Jester is also a pretty demanding character. I mean, he's moving so much,
Yeah.
and he's doing a lot of things. So, yeah, I mean, more than a tall guy, I feel. So,
No, yeah, for sure. It was serendipity that um necessity, which was we need somebody who's not currently holding something or is the physically appropriate one of us to go be in front of the camera, also ended up being the perfect person to step into this role and inhabit it in a way that just imbued him with a specific kind of personality.
yeah. So, considering Halloween is pretty crucial in the Jester world, I was wondering if you hold Halloween close to your heart.
Yeah, I mean, it is such Halloween is just like a good excuse for a lot of different things. It's a good excuse to watch all the horror movies that you've been putting off watching all year. It's a good excuse to eat a bunch of bad junk food. And for a lot of people, it's an excuse to express yourself in a way that you might not be able to get to for a majority of the year. Being able to feel comfortable walking around in your own skin because there you find out there's a lot of other like-minded people out there who share your interests or your style, your expression, or your vibe. It's when I was at Midsummer Scream to have the early screening of the Jester 2. Those are those kinds of people that just populate a convention like that, and it's really kind of amidst all the blood and guts and ghosts and ghoulies, there's a kind of a wholesomeness to everyone being so excited and supportive of everyone else walking around.
So, just my final question. Any horror film that inspired you as a filmmaker, and also any advice to upcoming filmmakers, amateur filmmakers?
Oh boy. Um God, there's I think every film that you enjoy, either consciously or subconsciously, works as inspiration. I think the films that inspire me the most are just ones that are simple and efficient. Like John Carpenter's The Thing is one of my favorite horror films, and I'm not sure I'm self-aware enough to say I've ever used that film specifically as inspiration for something, but um, just as a creative, seeing what's possible, um, it certainly is inspiring. And some advice that I would give to an aspiring filmmaker is you live more in a time now than ever to stop being aspiring. You know, you can make something with five friends, you can make something by yourself. It all depends on how driven and how passionate and how motivated you are because the tools are more accessible than ever. So stop using stop finding reasons to not make something because there will always be a reason to not make something. If you really want to make something, there is nothing stopping you anymore to do it.
Right. Thank you so much for giving us your time. It was great talking to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.